now in charge of CSR in National Insurance Company. She has been earlier heading the National Insurance Company Training Center, where staff from all over India used to attend. I invite Ms. Yangsen Lama to share her views on reinventing CSR.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you, Pio, for inviting. Thank you for all the members who are participating also in this. It's a very, very interesting and very topical topic, and I thank you for choosing this. So the most of the essential, what would I say, the essential elements of the subject has been covered by Mr. Kaushik, and so also earlier by Mr. Joseph. I just have a few, ground level understandings and views to kind of present. And this is my understanding as to how we can look into the future. The past is already gone, and past CSR, as both PU as well as Mr. Kaushik said, that there are now two phases of our lives. The COVID, the BC, and the after COVID, the aftermath of COVID. So, there is this very nice article about the Telegraph had written, and it talked about one gentleman, one daily wage earner during the lockdown season. They found this wage earner strolling in the street of near Jadavpur University. So the policeman kind of caught him and asked him what was he doing breaching, protocol. So this daily wage earner, in very, very simple but very profound words, I would say, he just questioned in Bengali. He says, "Cha khabo na?" That means, will I not have tea? So that was a very, very basic thing for this daily wage earner to have, He couldn't understand why this entire thing, the rigmarole of protocol, was imposing itself on or depriving him of a normal thing like having tea. But that is the current situation. This is the new normal. We cannot now go to the tea shop to have atta without the SMS protocol. The sanitizing, the mask, the social distance. So this was a little thing that stood apart and I wanted to share with you. Because what COVID-19 has really gone to do is it has gone to, it is a pandemic of such magnitude which we had never anticipated. It is of such proportions that the ramifications have not been truly felt even till now. It has disrupted lives, as Mr. Nixon was mentioning, livelihoods, communities. And for India, truly, 2020 has become annus horribilis. Because COVID-19 impact has been compounded by Mother Nature's cyclones, whether it was the Amphan in the eastern coast, or the Nisarga in the western coast, or for that matter, even the border threats that we are receiving. So all of this has kind of pulled us into a gloom, of despair. It is a despairing situation that we are really looking at. And we are not really able to predict the future. What does the future hold in store for us? So the crystal ball is hazy, it is ambiguous, and we cannot go far. So the questions that arise, and which has been so beautifully dealt with by Mr. Kaushik as well as Mr. Nixon, is where does CSR play a role in this scenario? How do we strategize CSR projects? And also an important thought which Mr. Kaushik has handled is, will this dwindling economy affect contributions to the CSR kitty? So, in this new normal that we have, we really, really have to reinvent ourselves. I think innovation is the key. For any new strategy, any new CSR strategy to have, innovation is the key. CSR has affected every aspect of human well-being, whether it is economic, whether it is social, political. It has actually ushered in, even though unwelcome, a new world order. So the short-term needs. So I would like to look at the COVID CSR needs in two ways: in the immediate needs, the short-term ones, and the future ones, which have a larger and a lasting impact. So the short-term needs have been very pragmatically handled, and there have been quick responses regarding, vital necessities like masks, sanitizers, gloves, etc., ventilators. Who can forget Tata Trust's contribution of 1,500 crores? Corporate India has kind of re-engineered the processes to manufacture goods that are most in demand during the pandemic. Nivea, the cosmetic maker, they changed their processes to prepare and manufacture hand sanitizers. Mahindra, we all know, they decided that they are going to make ventilators. So corporate India has really, really risen to the occasion. Of course, we must understand that there are risks in having these sea changing, in their core competencies, as happened in the United Kingdom, where they were making ventilators and other antibody antigens which were not really up to the mark. They violated some protocol of health. But all the same, what has come to the fore for handling this immediate short-term needs is that everyone has risen to the occasion, whether it is corporates, whether it is NGOs, whether it is employees, an individual employee who has contributed his day's salary. An elderly gentleman has contributed 10,000 rupees to the state chief minister's fund. So, and can we ever, erase from our memory the image of uniformed policemen singing to the residents of multi-storied apartments, as well as the citizenry, in the tune of Bela Tumi Shuncho. They had sung this beautiful song saying, please stay back, stay safe, and stay home. So, but while we are doing all these things, what comes to my mind is that these are the immediate needs. The financial crisis is measurable. It is there for all of us to see, to understand. But what is not seen, and what is the lurking crisis, which has really far-reaching impact, like the COVID-19, it is invisible, but it is deadly if not taken care of in time. And that is, I think, the social, emotional, and the psychological damage that this has brought about. That is something that is really, really enormous. So, when you look at social bonding, for example, the same people with whom you've been friends, with whom you've been associating, there is a little bit of a suspicion now. We think twice before inviting them in, or for that matter, even before interacting with them, because we say, have you observed the protocol? And apart from this, the negative mental health effects due to social isolation, there's a clinical depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies, and this is across all ages and genders. It's across, whether it is a child, whether it is an elderly person, whether it is an individual. These negative mental health effects have a very, very, they have, what I would say would be, they have penetrated the deepest recesses of the human psychological, the psyche. So even students, the schools have been closed for so long. Students are losing structure and stimulation that the school environment provided. They do not have bonding with their friends. They looked upon it as social support, moral support. So this is an avenue, where we can kind of extend, where even welfare societies, NGOs, entities, they can think of handling this, because this is going to be very, very required. It is a it is something that is long lasting, and we may not be able to fully repair the damage, the fully cure the damage, but definitely some repairing is required. And for me, that is number one. And then we have the hidden dragon. The hidden dragon is the domestic violence. Stay home, stay safe may have been good for many people, but it was not for many persons who were victims of domestic violence. Amongst them were women, there were children, there were these LGBTQ individuals. For them, home was a dangerous place, and for them, they actually faced a double pandemic. So gender-based violence, child abuse and neglect due to the movement restrictions, loss of income, isolation, overcrowding, stress, and anxiety. These are a few aspects that cause this domestic violence. In fact, the National Commission for Women, they mentioned that within a week's time, the reports that came to them, the complaints that came to them had doubled from the past year. Delhi police recorded in the second week of April 2,500 complaints. About 2,500, it was about 2,400 complaints of domestic violence, all women. So this has also to be looked into, because it would be having very, very long-lasting results. And I think because the load of work has increased during the lockdown in the houses, people have been there. Women have had to work because gender-based roles means that the woman has to take responsibility of the family. So these are the things that we also need to look into. These are the avenues. I will not call them opportunities, but I would like to call them that needs that need to be, holes that need to be plugged, gaps that we need to fill up. And when we talk about will COVID-19 affect CSR funding, in the 2008-2009 recession, it was found that there was, the question was whether to withdraw, whether to maintain the CSR fund, or whether to increase it. The International Monetary Fund says that this was way worse than the recession. It was, the worst recession since World War II. So the question arises whether we can really, apart from staying afloat, will companies also consider increasing their investment in the CSR kitty? So clearly, this is not a time to continue with CSR as usual, and it is important for us. We take a back step, we devise more thoughtful, more innovative business models, and then we work on them. So there are a lot of avenues for a lot of NGOs, for a lot of welfare groups to come out and help. In fact, a district judge friend of mine was just retired. She just immediately started an NGO for advising and empowering women, who have suffered domestic violence. It is an important thing to do. The government is helping us in most ways, in many, many ways. So we have the support of the government, and corporate India has risen to that task. And, they have invested because CSR funding, CSR spending is a part of CSR activity. So these are the things. And the most important point I would just like to end with is that we will get through this phase, Humanity will conquer COVID-19, but it has to be collated, it has to be done together. It cannot happen in isolation because, when we are handling for example, in the state of West Bengal, we are not just handling COVID in isolation, we are also handling Amphan. So here there are two situations which are totally at cross purposes. COVID says stay at home in the safety of your house. Amphan says go out, help in numbers, large numbers. So we have to marry all these. So it's not enough, because these have happened at the same time. And here I would really like to compliment the Bengal Loves You, Bengal Needs You WhatsApp group that has done yeoman service in reaching, to directly to the end user, reaching benefits, reaching aid and succor. And so this is the time when we need to innovate, when we need to look at it in a different way, and perhaps together we shall be able to provide the healing touch that is so much required. So this is how I look at it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Yangzan Lama, for that third view on this reinventing CSR. You have brought about that important aspect of